the birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution. From Cowick 591 Studios, this is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network with producer Blake Tempus. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber, and this is the Jesup News for January 8th, 2024.
Right.
Now,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Who would have thought we'd have lived this long?
Now, the odds were against me. Before we go too much follow, I'd like to ask our listeners, make sure you click follow and rate us, as well as tell a friend. If you haven't, if you already follow us, unfollow us, then follow us again. Let's drive those numbers up. Rate us as well. Give us 5 stars, and click and unfollow us and follow us again if you would.
Are we on some kind of dead, like the Ferentz kid? We hit a certain number, we're gone, or
No. We can stay as long as we want.
Oh,
Dale.
okay. I thought you were trying to jazz up the numbers for some. So.
Actually, we're up to 82 followers, but we'd like to get up to about 100.
That would be, yeah.
Yeah.
That just sounds better, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
100 sounds better. Please click and follow us and rate us. Tonight we talk about winners and losers as usual. We talk about the Iowa High School Girls Athletic Union. We talk about nursing homes. We talk about plans for the upcoming year and the arts that we support statewide. We talk about the events that are coming up in the Steve Brown Arts Center, and we give you the top stories in Jesup, and we discuss service and art. The Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. It will be offering community programming starting in Jesup, Iowa, before expanding to neighboring communities. Programming will include a community speaker series that will spotlight and partner with local businesses to provide opportunities for community engagement. The long-range vision is to house a rural artist residency program for professional and emerging artists in all areas of the arts and the humanities. Artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for a contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and grounds. And I'm proud to say we are pursuing an opportunity to do a docuseries this coming year, and with more about that to come. Dale, let's start it right now. Let's talk about winners and losers here in Iowa.
Well, just here in Iowa?
Let's talk about winners and losers.
Okay. No, I chose my winner is the Endangered Species Act. It's 50 years old. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Okay, and it was a bipartisan bill that passed overwhelmingly 50 years ago. That'd be 73? And help save a lot of species of different kinds of animals. And the biggest success for, you might notice around here, is the bald eagle. I see a bald eagle sitting in a tree going to Independence on both Old 20 and New 20 every now and then, and that's in the winter. I don't know where they are eating, but they are all over the place.
Well, I'd like to share that.
All right.
I live 200 yards from the Wapsipinicon, and the river where I live doesn't freeze over in the wintertime.
Okay.
And so the eagles come there in the wintertime and they feed there.
Okay.
So there are dozens of not only eagles but turkey buzzards, and it's not uncommon for my dog to be buzzed by hawks and the like.
Yeah. I was reading about eagles. Eagles will take a dog, a pretty good-sized dog, too. And there's record they took a 60-pound sheep, a couple of them.
Really?
Yeah, so they are stronger than you might think. And I was in Alaska, and a guy said that he saw an eagle once come down and grab a salmon, and the salmon was so big it pulled the eagle under the water.
Wow.
Yeah, but they say the eagles can swim, but they've been known to hit fish that are too big and just kind of flounder and swim their way kind of to shore to take care of the fish. So, but anyway, I have some numbers here. They estimate that in the early 1700s, there were between 300 and 500,000 of the bald eagles. And by 1963, they were down to 417
Oh, what was it?
Yeah, Rachel Carter, DDT.
DDT.
Yeah, was being used for mosquito control and all that sort of thing, and it was getting into the water and into the fish and then into the eagles, and there was something in the DDT that was making a lot of their eggshells so thin that it would not survive. The eggs would break because the shells were so thin.
I've got to ask you a question. When you grew up, and I can remember growing up, they would fly a crop duster over Cresco and spray the mosquitoes. Did they do that in Owen, Hazleton area?
I don't remember them ever spraying. I don't remember that ever happening. But when I was at school in Cedar Falls, I think they sprayed in Cedar Falls.
Right.
I believe. But no, I don't remember them ever spraying. We swatted. And so
that could have been good for us. Dale, I mean, that couldn't have been good for us.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But by 2007, they counted there was 9,784. By 2019, then, that's not many years, 316,700 individual bald eagles. And so that's a huge success story.
It is.
For our nation's symbol, and all because of this Endangered Species Act, because people were shooting them left and right just because, and a lot of people thought they were after livestock and this sort of thing, which is, if there's fish, they will eat fish before they eat anything. And then they will also take turtles and other reptiles and small mammals like rabbits and squirrels, and then we'll go after bigger things too if they can get away with it. And they also eat carrion, of course. But we had this thing in America, kill everything that walks, crawls, or swims, But now I think that's really, people are seeing the advantage. Grizzly bears are now doing pretty well out in western Montana and Wyoming, and they're releasing wolves back into the habitat. And we can live with these creatures.
Yep.
And they're part of the landscape. And so I just think the Endangered Species Act was a real winner. It's one of those laws really was effective. It did what it was supposed to do, probably more. But then same time, though, there's a story the other day about the Chinese. They have a huge fleet of fishing ships. I think off the coast of Peru, and they're after squid, but they're just hauling. The little ships go out, fill the great big ships up with this stuff, and then they haul it back to China. And the little ones just keep on. And so they're really worried about what they're doing to the ecosystem there as far as the squid are concerned. And, once they're gone forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they can't see that, but that's what happens when you get just a few people running everything.
Do you like calamari?
Like who?
Do you like what's squid called? Calamari, isn't it?
I don't know what it's called. I've never eaten it, and I probably never will. So
it is. I stayed in a hotel for a week one time, and they had seafood for supper and lunch, and I had calamari twice a day. And after 2 or 3 days of it, I came to realize that was too much.
Yeah. No, I don't eat that kind of stuff. There's this fish in Japan, right? If you don't cook it just right, it kills you, right? It's poisonous unless you cook it just so.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'm not eating that kind of thing. Because I don't want to die stupid,
Right.
I don't want to be doing something I don't need to do. And so anyway, Endangered Species Act, that's my winner this week.
That's a good one, Dale. My winner is Buchanan County. Here's some numbers for you. And a lot of people argue that these numbers aren't right. The census, I believe in that same paper, just came out, said there's about 335 million people in the United States right now.
Yeah, I saw that number, yeah.
It's a little bit over that. In Buchanan County in the 2021 census, there was 20,657. And Buchanan County, to me, is the towns in Buchanan County include Independence, Hazleton, Jesup, Winthrop, Hazleton Township. I would guess that's the Amish out there in that area. Fairbank, Brandon, and Rowley, and Lamont is included in Buchanan County.
Is Stan a little bit of Stanley or not? Probably not. I don't know. Okay,
I'm not sure.
Doesn't matter. I'm sure you got them all.
Yeah. But anyhow, there's so many neat things. We have Cedar Rock. We have Brandon has the frying pan. We have Heartland Acres over there in Independence. We have the Independence Mill. We have the Wapsipinicon River that meanders through Buchanan County that you can fish, you can kayak on, you can boat on. The Buchanan County Visitors Center. We have the Amish. We have great schools in Wapsie Valley, Jesup, East Buchanan, Independence. Although North Lynn is not in our county, many people from Buchanan County go to North Lynn.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Schools. And Owine, although Owine is in Fayette County, the many people from Buchanan County go there. We're real fortunate to have a great county, but almost 21,000 people in Buchanan County. It doesn't seem like that many, does it?
No, it doesn't. Do you know where we rank population-wise, or?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
There are, Buchanan County is about 570 square miles in size. And it is, if I'm right there, and I may be confused, and Buchanan County is my winner for the week.
Okay. And I was going to, another asset Buchanan County has had is a man named Dan Cohen. Do you know Dan?
Yes.
And he has just retired. And there's a nice article about him in the paper. He just received a very special award. And watching all that he has done, and I'm quite honest, I was always amazed that he stayed, that I thought this guy could have worked in his field almost anywhere he wanted to, because he had books published and newspaper and magazine articles, and did so much for conservation in Buchanan County. I would not have been surprised if he got an offer from somebody, somewhere bigger and better. But he stayed with the county and has done a wonderful job for us. And he's my co-winner, I guess. I thought, yeah.
The neat thing about Dan is he was accessible. He people could contact him, call him anytime. He took their calls. He would go to them. Buchanan County is a big county. It's an outdoor county with the Wapsie and hunting, and you're right. He did an incredible job.
Terry Shares was telling me that when Dan would come in and talk to her kindergarten kids, he would pretend that he plucked his eye out and put it in his mouth, and then he used his tongue to poke his cheeks out like he was sucking on his eyeball going around. So the kids just were fascinated by that. So good sense of humor too.
Yeah. So who's your loser?
Well, my loser is, and this would go on for a while, but in the paper today, it talked about Governor Reynolds in September 22 speaking at the Marriott Hotel in downtown Des Moines to a group of nursing home executives in the state. And the Nursing Home Political Action Committee, plus these big shots in the nursing home industry in Iowa, ponied up over $80,000 for her election campaign. She spoke to them about how she'd gotten increased Medicaid funding for the industry, the nursing home industry, by $23 million in 2019 and by $19 million more in 2021, and all the things that she was doing for them. And so it's in the Courier, the Tuesday, January 2nd Courier, and it's a huge, it's like 3 pages long, and I don't feel like I should read it to you, but that belongs to the nursing home industry, spends millions of dollars on Republican candidates and on the governor to keep them in line so that they do not control too much. And the governor has said that the object is to get the nursing home more money and less regulation. According to the data from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the Acura chain, which operates 32 care facilities, has an average overall rating of 2.5 stars on the agency's 5-star scale. And they've been hit with more than $1.1 million in fines for quality of care and violations that put elderly residents at risk. And regulators have suspended Medicaid payments to various Acura facilities at least 11 times. And this Mr. Lanive is the Acura CEO, and he's donated $10,000 to Reynolds' campaign in 2022. And since 2018, he's donated $47,000 to Reynolds' campaign, and $61,000 to campaign committees of the Senate Majority Leader and that sort of thing. And also contributed $83,000 to the Iowa Health PAC, the PAC they have. And so, and this PAC, the Health PAC that is run by the nursing home industry, is one of the state's biggest contributors to political campaigns, spending a total of $1,493,612 on campaign donations and related expenses since 2016. And Reynolds' campaign collected more than $132,000 of that. It's for sale, and why it's for sale is that these places are not doing a very good job, and they're doing everything they can to keep them from being regulated. And their whole idea is to give them more money and less regulation. I guess I said that a minute ago. According to a U.S. Senate report, Iowa ranks 49th among the states in its ratio of state inspectors to nursing homes. For every inspector Iowa has on staff, it has 9 care facilities to oversee. Kansas and Nebraska have 5.7 facilities. Missouri has 2.7, and Illinois has 2.2, according to the report. So our inspectors have a ton of work, much more so than any other. Almost everybody. I don't know. They didn't say who 50 was, but we are 49th in that, and that's the goal: is to have fewer and fewer inspections. Another thing that was interesting is that there's a governor's award for quality care that's given out every year. And in many times, after they get this quality care award, they're cited for violations. And there was one was at the LaPorte City Specialty Care in Blackhawk County, which is close to us, and they got the governor's award for quality care. And then the government person that gave us what was a great facility, has a cozy fireplace and sitting area. But 6 months earlier, state inspectors working for Johnson's agency had cited the LaPorte home for failing to provide a clean, home-like environment, failing to accurately assess and report residents' needs, failing to provide timely plans of care for residents. The inspectors noted 1 out of the 4 bathrooms they checked had smeared brown substance, that's in quotes, on the walls, floor, and baseboard. A housekeeper informed the inspectors there was no supervisor at the 44-resident facility. I am the only housekeeper in the building today, she reportedly said. The toilet should be cleaned every day, and I would say they are not getting done every day, but maybe every other day. And the owner of the LaPorte facility is Care Initiatives, a West Des Moines corporation. And those workers at that company have been implicated in several alleged cases of death by neglect. And so they agreed to pay the federal government $500,000 at one time to settle allegations against it. Other winners of the government's quality award for quality care include the Bridges at Ankeny. And we had my wife's brother stay there this last summer. He had an operation, so he needed a week, someplace to go just to rehab. They've been cited for failing to notify the state's long-term care ombudsman of resident transfers, failing to accurately complete assessments of residents' conditions, failure to store and serve food in accordance with food safety standards. Newton Village in Jasper County got the award, and the inspector cited the home for failing to have a trained, qualified infection control specialist on staff, failing to adequately treat pressure sores, and failing to ensure residents were up to date on their shots. The Lake Mills Care Center got the award in 21 in Winnebago County. And 2 months later, inspectors cited the home for inadequate incontinence care, with the staff indicating they performed no competency checks on the nurse aides. The home was also cited for failing to review a resident's medications for 5 months. There's a lady whose mother died in a nursing home, and she wanted to put like a nanny camera in her mother's room so she could monitor the care her mother was getting. And the legislature has barred that. The nursing home, there's quotes from the people in the PAC about how they are working hard to keep those cameras out of the rooms. They don't want anybody watching what's going on in there. They said, this is something that will come up every year. This lady said, the best case scenario is that we kill it before it even gets any legs. In other words, they're not going to get that nanny cam and anything like that. So anyway, it sounds terrible. And as an older person, and I hope I never go to a nursing home. My kids say, we'll never put you in a nursing home, Dad. But now, your kids are dependent upon both adults in the family working. They're not going to stay home and take care of dad, and I don't blame them. They can't do it. And so a lot of us are ending up in nursing homes, and the quality of care is very, very poor. Time and time again, you read about this, people dying. There's a nursing home where the doctor said this person needs to go. So rather than call a taxi, they called this Dolly's service in Waterloo and put her in a van. The van dropped her off on the street outside the emergency room. That's as far as they took her. She was on her own and just needed care. I mean, it's heartbreaking to read the article and realize that there's probably much more they could have put in there. So anyway, Iowa governor and legislature are big on they want to save money, lower taxes, but they're not getting any service. And I think to make money, and the nursing home people are making millions and millions, and this will be nonprofit, some of them, and they're making millions of dollars every year, and their executives are being paid hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and the people actually taking care of the patients are paid peanuts, and that's why there's not enough of them, and they would rather pay fines than put the money into quality care for their residents. And to me, I think that's a real shame. Anyway, that was a long answer to a short question, but I read this and I got really upset by this because it just bothers me that people would make money denying care to old people that are just trying to live out their last few years.
Well, unfortunately, Dale, you're right. If you look at the two groups of people that our government doesn't care for are the elderly and our children.
Yeah, especially the very young, the daycare kind of. Yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah, I agree.
So that's very good, Dale. Thank you.
Yeah.
My loser, to have a little bit, to bring a little more happiness back to this.
Thank you. You always pick me up. That's good of you.
Is the Florida State football. They played Georgia. Florida State, if you weren't paying attention, was undefeated, and there was a big argument that they deserved to be in the college football playoffs, but they didn't make it. And so, as many teams had a bunch of kids that refused to play in their bowl game. I believe, with injuries and stuff, they had around 20 players that didn't play.
Oh, I had not heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Georgia beat them. I believe it was 63-3.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was a bad score. So.
And Florida State, their argument about being in the college football playoff wasn't a very good argument, unfortunately. Yeah. So they are my loser for the week.
Yeah. And I need to make not a public apology or anything, but I feel bad watching the Iowa game, and this quarterback for Iowa, and he showed up. They asked him to come and play. He tried out for the team. He made the team. He got a uniform, and then they said, "Okay, you're the second guy." And so when the first guy went down, he went. And he played the best he could, and he won. The team won 10 games, only lost 4, which is a very good record. But he's getting lots of crap, and about how he can't do this, he can't do that, and this sort of thing. And I was one of those that yelled at the TV also. And I feel bad because he's just a kid trying to do the best he can. And so I apologize to that nice young man.
Well, here's
just a game.
Here's the thing, Dale, that, for years, sports bloviators like myself and you and others would not attack college players because they were not paid.
Yeah.
And now, all of a sudden they're paid.
Yeah.
And NIL has brought a lot of money into them. There's a fine line.
That quarterback for Tennessee, that young kid, he was a 5-star recruit, and they said he had $5 million waiting for him when he showed up at Tennessee.
Yeah.
And NIL money. And so that's going to change the dynamic forever, this money thing and you can't blame a kid to go play for money. That seems to be what the world is about now.
So, but anyhow,
okay.
because they're paid.
Yeah.
People feel they have the right to yell about them
Yeah.
and attack them.
Yeah.
So
Well, I doubt if this kid is getting many endorsements.
No,
So
no.
right now, he's probably running for cover, and that's not right. It's just it's a stupid football game, and anybody that thinks Iowa's going to be national champion or a Big Ten champion, you're just fooling yourself. We just play to play, and we beat Wisconsin and Minnesota, Nebraska, and those kind of teams quite often, and we should be happy with that. And when we play Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State, we're probably not going to do very well most of the time, and that's just the way it is. And so it's been that way since I was growing up and has not changed. And so
you're right, but the neat thing is, if you look at things, look at next year, the two teams in the college football playoff or the college football finals. Is that a week, or is that this coming Monday, I believe?
yeah, the 8th.
Yeah. Our Big Ten teams, Dale.
Yeah.
Washington will be a Big Ten team next year.
I had not thought of that.
Yeah. And Michigan is a Big Ten team.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to argue SEC football is the best, and arguably it is. If you look at Ole Miss pounded Penn State. Although Rutgers handled Miami, but Miami's not SEC football. But from another Big Ten school was beat pretty handily by the SEC.
In Wisconsin,
Oh yeah,
they played well.
LSU.
Yeah, they played well, but they ended up losing towards the end, right? And
Yeah,
so-
they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Well, it's interesting. Michigan and Alabama, two of the biggest cheating schools in the country, playing each other. I thought that was pretty interesting how that would turn out. And everybody thinks Harbaugh is going to go to the NFL now and coach there. So
This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and I'm Jim Gillespie with Dale Rueber. In library news, Little Tot Story Time meets every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. for songs, stories, and more. The Spice Club, the January spice is mace.
Mace, all right.
Mace. Pick up your sample and recipes to try at the Jesup Public Library.
Is that what you spray up people that try to attack you, or?
It must be, Dale. Exercise with friends. Bring your friends every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 8 a.m. to the public library for about an hour-long workout. These workouts are beginner-friendly and can be done seated or standing. Books and Brew Club. Don't forget, if you like a beer, join us for our Book and Brew Book Club. We talk about books and drink beer the second Monday of every month at Allerton Brewing Company.
Oh, I was going to say, can you drink in the library? You drink in the library. Okay, all right.
I'm sure you can, though.
I don't know. I don't think you
As
can.
long as you don't sell it.
Well, yeah, they have wine tasting things sometime,
Yeah,
maybe. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Our next Books and Brew meeting will be on Monday, January 8th at 6:30. That's tonight, actually. And they're discussing Ebby Drake's Star Over by Linda Holmes. Pick up your copy of the selected book at the JPL and meet at Allerton for a lively discussion. I'm sure you have enough beers, it gets pretty lively.
Well, you think the company will send us to cover that story or live? Or?
I will talk to our
Okay.
stockholders
All right,
about
okay,
that.
okay.
What do you think, Blake? Can we go? All right, he says we can go. Thank you. The book club, Spectacular Snow is STEM Friday. Join us following the school's early dismissal for activities, fun, and snacks, all related to snow. This free program will take place on Friday, January 12th at 1:30 in the community room in the library. Pre-registration is required. You can find a link on our Facebook page and linked in our Instagram bio. The program is offered in collaboration with the ISU Buchanan County Extension and Outreach. Dale, the storm should be coming in right about now, actually. It's scheduled for today and tomorrow. Book Club, the January book, Sing Them Home by Stephanie Kalos is available to pick up at the library. Book Club will meet Monday, January 15th at 1 o'clock. A deeply moving portrait of three grown siblings who have lived in the shadow of unresolved grief since their mother's mysterious disappearance. Decades later, they are summoned home after their father's sudden death, and they are forced to revisit the childhood tragedy at the center of their lives. With breathtaking lyricism, wisdom, and humor, Stephanie Kalos explores the consequences of protecting the ones we love. There's a banned book giveaway.
All right.
Yeah, banned book giveaway.
Those are the ones everybody wants to read, right?
They are. They are. We should start a band book club.
We
Dale.
should, yes.
Yeah. Annie's Foundation is visiting Jesup to hand out banned and challenged books for free.
I'm sorry, who's doing that?
Annie's Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Join us Saturday, January 20th at 10 a.m. to learn about Annie's Foundation and all the good trouble they've been up to.
Okay.
Dale, we'd fit right in.
We would, yes, because those are the books I like to read,
Troublemakers.
Yeah.
They will get you up to speed on the status of book banning in Iowa and then invite you to pick out a banned book to take home. One book per person, please, while supplies last. Some of the titles will include Nothing But the Truth.
Mm-hmm. Can't read that.
The House on Mango Street. And A Boy Called Bat. Friends of the JPL are all welcome to join our meeting on Thursday, January 18th at 6 p.m. The Friends is a nonprofit support organization that improves the services and resources of the library, promotes citizens' involvement in the community, and hosts fundraising events to offer programs and resources for all ages. Memberships forms are available at the library. Monday movie. Our Monday movies are back. On Monday, January 22nd at 1 p.m., we will show The Sound of Freedom, a true story of former government agent turned vigilante who's on a mission to rescue children from traffickers. Rated PG-13. It runs 2 hours, 11 minutes. Free popcorn and water. Ads coming to Amazon Prime Video. No more password sharing on Netflix. So you're going to have to check out DVDs for free at the library, though. We have many new movies like...
A Man Called Otto is very good.
Okay.
Yes, it's a Tom Hanks movie. Very good.
Speaking of Tom Hanks movie, there's a movie about... It's on Netflix. It's a 2022 movie. It's called Elvis. It's about Elvis and Colonel Parker. Tom Hanks.
Yeah, he was in that. Yeah.
Yep. Tom.
I did not see that, but I remember the movie.
It's exceptional. The man, and I wish I could remember the man that played Elvis, did a super job. Talked about Elvis's life. Talked about Colonel Parker a lot and how Colonel Parker used Elvis. Took millions, about $8 million they figure, and at that time $8 million probably closer to $100 million.
Yeah, a lot of money.
But if you get a chance to see it on Netflix, it is wonderful.
I was going to. Do you remember the first racy book or you read as a teenager, or everybody was talking about? Or
the first racy book. I can remember movies, but not books.
Okay. I think it was called Peyton Place. Did you ever hear that?
Yep.
Yeah. And so that was the one where you took a cowboy book cover and put it over, so you could read it in study hall, that sort of thing. So, but that's probably the first book I read that was like an adult book, and so ruined my life. But
it is quite interesting. We talked about Tom Hanks and the like. It is right now we're a little short of movies because of the actors strike and the Writers Guild strike.
Yeah.
They are quickly putting them out, but they're putting anything on they can on Netflix and the like.
Yeah. No. There's so many of them. They must have to scramble for material. Just
they do.
My daughter has channels that come in over the Wi-Fi, and they have one of the channels is you remember the Michael J. Fox family show that he was in as a kid?
Oh yeah.
Remember the name of the show? I remember the name of the show, but anyway, it's 24 hours a day. It's those shows. It was on like 9 or 10 years, so they have a lot of episodes. But
Right.
it's just one after the other, and you can sit there for 2-3 hours watching those because they're quality stuff. From way that, but it's interesting to me. You can have a channel that's just got one show, and they just run it. Not the same show, but it's one show, but they have several episodes, and they just run it 24 hours a day. So
So is that the show you're binging right now, or what are you binging right now, Dave?
I'm not binging anything. So no, I don't. I will binge like Jack Reacher kind of things.
Yeah.
And the guy that's a marshal or a sheriff out in Wyoming or Montana. I watched a lot of those at one time, but I don't have those servers. My kids help me out. I do some of those.
We've got a few announcements here.
All right.
Pook's new and used merchandise is having karaoke Saturday, January 13th from 2 to 5. Stop by and hear Blake, Dale, and I sing Country Roads. We're going to do it reggae style.
Reggae style? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Cowork 591 this month, the month of January, has one free work day if you'd like. Jesup Caps Winter Showcase is January 10th. That's this Wednesday from 2 until 4. The students from Jesup and Dunkerton show you what they've worked on this past semester. January 17th, the Power of Color is here. A lady comes in, talks about the color of clothes that people should wear. The fashion police is here, Dale, for us. It is at 6:30, January 17th. They have a discount on a one-year membership. Stop in and talk to Kelly about that. And they have a one-week special of $20 as well. So talk to Kelly about that. Co-work is awful kind to the Steve Brown Arts Center, and we'd like you to support our advertisers. Another advertiser we'd like you to support is Jacobson Fabrication and Repair, located here in Buchanan County, just south of Jesup. Donnie and his family have been incredible to our arts center, and they've also been very kind to the city of Jesup. So please support the people that advertise on our air. Dale, what'd you have for us tonight?
Oh, well, I've been reading a book.
Okay.
And it's called The Conspiracy to End America. And it's written by a man named Stuart Stevens, and he is a man who has spent his whole career, well, he's written some other books, and actually some TV shows, I guess they said, but he has spent his whole political career helping Republicans get elected to office, and has worked with the Bushes and people, in presidential races. And he believes that there's now a conspiracy to end America being run by the Republican Party. And if you listen to the things, I don't know, I just really think every government class in the country ought to read this book, because it's scary of what could happen if people don't get out and vote their conscience instead of voting scared. I don't know. But anyway, so because I just finished this book, and then Saturday, December 30th, Bulletin Journal came, and there was a letter to the editor, and I thought I'd read most of it to you. It's pretty short. It's by Nels Werner of Independence, who wrote to the editor, and he says, "A few months ago I watched a 6-hour documentary on the rise and fall of Adolf Hitler and the Third Reich. The next day I watched a 2-hour documentary on Benito Mussolini and how he took over Italy as a fascist dictator and how he inspired Hitler. In both cases, intelligent people were taken in by fiery hate speech and followed these dictators. I couldn't help but see the similarity to what is happening in America today. Seemingly intelligent Americans are falling for Trump's hate speech and desire to become our dictator. I wonder if the Proud Boys will become Trump's Gestapo. Will the Oath Keepers be his SS troops? Will Jewish Americans be persecuted and disappear? Will other minorities be persecuted like Muslims, black and brown people, and Asians? I wonder if our democracy will be replaced by authoritarianism and fascism. My hope for the future is that all Christians will follow the teachings of Jesus Christ and act accordingly. I hope Republicans will rise up and take their party back from Trump and his gang. Most people stop and think things through. I hope all Americans will think the situation through. I hope the women will rise up and vote to get their freedoms back. I hope all young people will get involved and vote because they have the most to lose if our democracy falls. I hope all Americans will come together like the greatest generation came together after Pearl Harbor to defend freedom and our democracy. Abraham Lincoln once said in 1838, "At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of free men, we must live through all time or die by suicide. We are at risk of that happening today just as it was during the Civil War. I encourage everyone to really think things through and help save our democracy. And again, that was by Nels Wiener of Independence. And there's been a lot of talk about that in the newspaper and everything, about some of the speeches that Trump has made about the people coming across. There's commercials now about how the terrorists from Israel and Gaza will be coming across the border and all this sort of thing, trying to make us afraid and trying to make us support a strong man that will, help protect us. And my people came to this country from Germany many years ago, and we didn't come to be protected. We came to be free, and that's what we want. And we want the democracy in America to continue. Political parties have to be able to take a loss. If you're in a democracy, you're going to get beat sometimes. And what you need to do is look to the future and try to regroup rather than look to the past and try to deny things that have really happened. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting. I finished the book, and then this letter to the editor was there. And again, you can read all about this. And if you're rational, I think you will realize that this is not the man we want taking over our world. I really don't think so. So anyway, that's what I have today.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. A few announcements is some events that we have coming up. January 19th, the Steve Brown Arts Center is hosting Dave Harms at the Allerton Brewery. Dave is a photographer, and he is also bringing his grandson. His grandson is in elementary school, but he's an incredible artist, and we're going to show some of his work as well.
Okay.
That's at Allerton Brewery, January 19th. That's a Friday evening from 6 until 8. On February 4th, we are having an art show at the Jesup Firehouse. That is the day, that first Sunday of February. Fire department is having a pancake breakfast, and we are going to be showing 3 artists. One is a woodworker from Independence, and another is Nick Thomas. He lives out in Los Angeles now. He has done several pieces of art that we're going to show. And the third is John Decker, another artist from Independence. The fire department is kind enough to let us show that art from 8:30 until 10:30, February 4th. At the Jesup Firehouse. And then February 17th, we are along with Winding Creek Meadow, is showing Kenny Meohow, a local Jesup artist,
know him well,
at Winding Creek Meadow from 2 until 4 on February 17th. It's a Saturday afternoon. Kenny's art is incredible, much like Mort Donnelly. We have a piece of Mort Donnelly's art. There's a little park right by the river west of Allerton Brewery, Independence, and they try to put up a different artist monthly, and there will be a piece up of Mort Donnelly this month.
Okay.
There, so when you're in Independence, stop at that park and stop at Allerton Brewery, but also look for that piece by Mort. So this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. And then March 16th, it's the Saturday of St. Patrick's Day. We, along with the Sanity Room, it is the O'Loughlin, they call it O'Loughlin's and McClory's, I believe, on St. Patrick's Day, are co-hosting the Irish Blue Drifters Trio from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
All right.
And Sanity Room will open at 9 o'clock that day. They will have cabbage and corned beef that day. They have a parade from Pat's Bar up Chatham Street to the Sanity Room. It's that street right there by where the pharmacy used to be.
Okay.
And it goes from basically down by the fairgrounds and goes south. And that's March 16th. It's St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Okay.
So make sure you get out to that. And also, the Irish Blue Drifters play from 7 until 10. They will have several drink specials, and they will have, as I said, cabbage and corned beef that day.
Well, I have not been in the Sanity Room, but I have been in Pat's Tap before.
Right.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
So. I don't know if you remember, Mrs. Donnelly used to teach
In high school? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And every St. Patrick's Day, she would bring corned beef sandwiches. Oh, my gosh. I love Mrs. Donnelly.
Yeah.
When we had the Irish here, she asked for the Irish to come to her house. Mrs. Donnelly had a huge family, well over 10 children.
Mm-hmm.
And just a giant house over there on the south side of Independence by St. John's. We called it the Irish Embassy, and we took the Irish there, and Mrs. Donnelly just loved the Irish kids.
Yeah.
It was had a wonderful meal for them. She was used feeding large amount of kids.
Oh, yeah.
And Leo Donnelly was her husband. He was a long time
supervisor.
Supervisor.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yes.
I didn't realize. I never put those two together.
Yep,
So okay.
yep. And so Leo loved people coming to the house as well, so he could shake people's hand.
Well, yeah, and you probably got some good food then too if she was cooking for a big group. So, Did you grow up with corned beef or?
I didn't. My mother, my father was from West Virginia, and
possum meat and stuff.
We actually pork chops and pork hocks and fried potatoes and the like.
No, I never had anything. I never had any corned beef. It does in the service. They would serve it every now and then.
Yeah.
Get big roasts and then I took a hankering to corned beef hash. You ever had it for breakfast?
Right.
Yeah. And then I tried to cut back on salt, so I haven't eaten some of that for a long time. But I thought it was very good, though.
Oh yeah, so, I love corned beef sandwiches. Yeah. So this is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. I was in an argument today with a man on the World Wide Web. He was attacking Iowa women's basketball, and he was attacking Caitlin Clark because she took 36 shots the other night in the game against Michigan State. Said he was yelling, and he was from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And the Connecticut women are incredible. But Paige Becker. Paige Becker is from up by Minneapolis in that area. Paige Becker and Caitlin Clark are actually very good friends. They both played in the USA Women's under 19 team.
Yeah, I heard sportscasters. They played against each other last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember talking. The sportscasters talking about that. So okay, I know who you're talking about.
And but he claims that Paige Becker isn't the only person that scores for UConn, but Gino, the coach of UConn. Was head of USA Basketball for years, and so he had his choice of if you wanted to play on the USA Basketball, you went to UConn.
Yeah.
And since Dawn Staley is now the head of USA Basketball at South Carolina, she has the choice of women that go to South Carolina.
Yeah.
And although Iowa doesn't have as many Caitlin Clark's, the coach for Iowa does an incredible job. Lisa Bluter does a great job of recruiting to Iowa, but she's got one of the best with Caitlin Clark. And I was in an argument with this man online. I said to him, Iowa's had basketball for 100 years. Iowa's had women's basketball for 100 years and girls basketball for 100 years. And we are, and few people realize this, Dale, but the state of Iowa is the only state in the union that has a girls' athletic union.
Yep.
And there are a lot of coaches, mostly male coaches, boys coaches, don't think we need a girls' union.
Yeah.
But the girls' union has been incredible for almost 100 years.
Oh, yeah. Is that Cooley? Yeah.
Well, it used
He
to
was-
be
yeah.
Dr. Wayne Cooley.
Yeah,
He was a big
was-
Cubs fan.
Yeah, but he was the one that really got it going.
He was.
Way back when, and yeah.
And I want to talk about that.
Okay.
This is from the Girls High School Athletic Union. The origins of the Iowa High School Girls High School Athletic Union can be traced to a heated argument at a Des Moines Presbyterian church. From that argument, a one-of-a-kind organization was founded and continues to serve high school girls like no other activity organization in the United States. Iowa was one of the few states in the 1920s where girls could play high school basketball, and its popularity began to thrive in Iowa's rural schools. However, the state's largest schools did not have the same enthusiasm, and people had concerns over the merits of girls participating in physical activities, as they believed it was harmful
Yeah.
to girls to engage in strenuous activities such as basketball.
That's why they wouldn't let them run long distance in track or anything.
There you go.
Yeah, it might harm themselves. So.
These arguments reached a boiling point at the 1925 Iowa State Teachers Convention.
Ah, those teachers. Yeah.
Held at the Central Presbyterian Church in Des Moines. The annual meeting of superintendents and principals decided that competitive sports before paying crowds was good only for boys' activities, not for girls, and the girls' basketball would no longer be a state-sponsored interscholastic activity. One of the meeting's attendees who had coached girls' basketball lamented that conscience was forever bothered for the harm I might have done the girls in coaching girls' basketball. However, Mystic Superintendent John W. Egan's responded with a memorable rebuttal. If you attempt to do away with girls' basketball in Iowa, you will be standing at the center of the track when the train runs over you. Egan's powerful message led to an impromptu meeting of 25 men. Notice there's no women involved in this. From primarily small rural Iowa school districts. They decided that if Iowa High School Athletic Association, who oversaw all high school athletic activities at the time, was not willing to sponsor girls' basketball, then they would form their own organization. And that is how the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, a four-man committee representing the Northeast, Northwest, Southwest, and Southeast sections of the state, oversaw the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union in its early stages. The committee rotated as the IGHSAU's part-time secretary until 1947, when Rod Chisholm of Exira became the organization's first full-time executive secretary, which is when girls basketball began to flourish. The Iowa High School Girls State Basketball Tournament, held at the Drake University Fieldhouse, featured sold-out crowds throughout the 8-session tournament. To promote its growth, the state basketball tournament became one of the Iowa's marquee events. The IGHSAU published its own rule book and a girls' basketball yearbook and hosted coaching schools for both coaches and officials. The tournament was also one of the first sports to be televised, beginning in 1951 and reaching 9 states.
Yep.
When Rod Chisholm resigned in 1954, he was replaced by Dr. Wayne Cooley. Now there was a big argument. The union didn't have money; it was almost broke when Dr. Cooley came into office, and they couldn't figure out where all the money went. Well, Mr. Chisholm had become very sick, and he had spent a lot of money on his health.
Ah, okay.
And he was caught and tried for it, actually, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then, like now, health insurance was not easy to come by.
Yeah.
But anyhow, when Dr. Cooley took over, his first task was to expand the number of programs or organizations. While basketball was still widely successful, Dr. Cooley believed that for the organization to truly thrive, it needed to sponsor more sports. So simply put, Dr. Cooley did just that. The Girls Union sanctioned softball in 1955, while golf and tennis were sanctioned in 1956. Track and field was added in 1962, and becoming the fifth sport sanctioned. Girls basketball remained the girls' high school athletic union's crown jewel, taking advantage of the tournament's new home, the spacious Veterans Memorial Auditorium. Dr. Cooley turned the nation's oldest high school girls state tournament into a showcase for Iowa talent. In addition to the great basketball being played, the halftime shows were elaborate productions comprised of Iowa high school students and bands dancing, and the highlights of the evening, the Hall of Fame presentation narrated by the great Jim Duncan.
Used to love that.
Yeah. In short, there was something for everyone, whether you like basketball or not.
Mm-hmm.
When the Title IX legislation was passed in 1972 requiring gender equity in every federal-funded educational program, high schools across the country were scrambling. So that's about the time that Jesup basketball came back.
Okay.
It was around in the 1920s and 30s, and then it disappeared for a while.
Okay.
And it came back when Title IX was passed in 72. The majority of schools and universities did not offer athletic programs for girls and struggled to find their ways to implement the new program. Sports Illustrated compiled a 3-part story in 1973 on women's sports and Title IX. One issue of the article featured girls' sports in Iowa.
Yep.
The Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union continued to add programs. Cross country was added in 1960s, followed by swimming and diving in 1960s. Volleyball in 1970. Soccer was added in 1998 and bowling in 2006. Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union sponsored 10 sports. And by the way, wrestling, so it's 11 now. Girls wrestling was now sanctioned. Did it start last year?
Yeah, this is the first year they're having team competition, I think. But last year they could get started.
Yeah. So it's 11 sports now. Today, nearly 70,000 girls compete in Iowa high school athletics. Iowa continues to rank in the top half of the U.S. in terms of girls high school athletic participation, despite ranking 30th in the U.S. population.
Mm-hmm.
To administering sports, the Girls Union conducts coaching certification courses and official education clinics and offers several scholarships that celebrate the Iowa girl. Iowa continues to be unique in that there are 4 separate activity organizations: the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, the Iowa High School Athletic Association, the Iowa High School Speech Association, and the Iowa High School Music Association. The 4 organizations focus their efforts on making Iowa a national leader in administering high school activities. Dr. Cooley, who retired as the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union Executive Secretary in 2002, once stated, "I take a lot of pride that every girl walks down every main street in every town in Iowa just as tall as the boy." The Girls Union has made its mission to uphold Cooley's legacy. I got a couple stories of Mr. Cooley. The first time we went to Russia, it would have been the year when 6-on-6 ended. Everybody played 5-on-5, and we were going to Russia. And I called Mr. Cooley in April of that year and invited him to go with us.
Oh, okay.
And after that, I was his friend. He didn't go with us.
Yeah.
Mr. Cooley was incredibly busy. He was a huge Cub fan and owned stock in the Cubs.
Oh, did he really? Okay.
And so he spent a lot of time going to the Cubs. He was busy in the summer with softball, obviously,
yeah.
But that was the first time that I had a good talk with Dr. Cooley.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I saw him, Virgil Hovden received Character Counts Coach of the Year award, and I had a chance to sit with Mr. Cooley at the table when Virgil received that award.
Okay. That was nice.
And I was very fortunate. That was just before he retired, and shortly after he passed away after that.
Yeah. No, it was quite a shock. I grew up in Hazleton and in most of the 50s and in elementary school in the early 60s. And Hazleton had girls basketball, and Bill Murphy was the coach of both teams, the boys and the girls. And just a natural thing. And then when they reorganized the district, we had to go to Owine to high school.
Right.
They didn't have no girls' sports at all. And it was just a real shock for the girls. I know that there was just nothing for them to do. And it was very strange to go to school without any girls' sports. That's how we felt, the kids from Hazleton. And when Owine they didn't have a gym. They had a lot of problems that they needed to take care of before they could offer sports to girls.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very interesting and very neat that what Iowa has done for girls' sports because of the girls' union over all these years.
It is, and every time I hear somebody argue that we don't need two unions, it's generally because they're jealous of the girls' union.
Yeah, I think so. Because, man, the girls' tournament back in the 6-on-6 days compared to the boys' tournament, you would watch the girls for a week on television, and the next week the boys' tournament would be on night and day as far as participation and all the kids and all the hoopla. The girls was much more entertaining than anything the boys' union could come up with.
Well, even today, Dale, on Iowa Public Television, an avid listener, Paul Yeager, does a great job of hosting the girls' unions.
It's neat to see him doing it, isn't it?
It is. I'm real. I'm real impressed by Paul's work with that, and he understands the history of the girls' union, and he understands the importance of that. And one of the things, Dale, the boys' union, and you talked about the rest home being all about money. The boys' union is all about money, but if you look at the coffers for the girls' union and the boys' union, the girls' union makes just as much money as the boys' union does.
Yeah.
And the boys have football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, that's the big difference right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you can't overcome at the college level or at the high school level. Right. I think is the football. No, you think about those wonderful softball teams that Elson had, and some of the girls' basketball teams we had had outstanding players, and just think we could have missed all that.
Yeah, we could have.
And those girls would have missed out, too. To think that someone who's capable of having a baby and wrestling with kids all day and everything can't run a 100-yard dash, that's just kind of crazy, isn't it? But
it is. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Dale, do you have anything else for us?
No, I guess I'm good. Had a nice time with family the last couple of weeks or so, and now I'm resting. Feeling my age, I guess. So this should be my lucky. I turned 77 this year. See, so double 7. I ought to be very lucky this year. Right. So you should sit closer to me when you do these podcasts. So.
Well, I tell you, I'm coming off of COVID. I got COVID for the first time. You didn't know that, and I'm disappointed. I lost my sense of smell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was talking to local celebrity Larry Baldwin. He said he lost his sense of taste. It took him about a year to get his taste back.
I've heard that happened. So,
and I'm so disappointed.
You won't have to change your socks now if you can't smell.
There's a reason people don't come into my house. Besides, I'm pretty ugly. But, I
thought you just had high standards. Okay.
The Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves. You would like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for the event, go to stevebrownartscenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@stevebrownartscenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message.
Yeah, if you haven't been to Mr. Polk's store right on Young Street here, you should stop by. He's got lots of stuff in there, and it's just very interesting just to walk through and see everything that's there. So give him a try.
Please do that. I'm Jim Gillespie. Thanks to co-host Dale Rueber as always, and thanks to our producer Blake Tempus and Kelly Cias at Cowork 591 Studios. Thanks to the audience for letting these stray dogs into your day. And remember, each day is about little victories.